Hey there, this is Jason Scott of archive.org. You're listening to the Scene World podcast, getting history over the air.
Hey everybody, it is the Scene World podcast. I'm AJ, that's Joerg over there.
That's me over here.
And I can see this time because I've moved the window.
Nice. It's
in
a
a
video
minute,
podcast.
Yes, it is. In a minute, we are talking to Casey Ross and Walter Day about ArcadeFire, the redemption of Billy Mitchell. It is a stage production, a play, which is currently not going on because the world is a horrible, horrible place. But hopefully we'll get back to where it will be performed soon.
Would it be what I call a musical?
I believe that it is, yes.
Yeah, and also the first time Walter Day in the podcast. I mean, we had Walter Day in video interviews, but never in the podcast. So hey,
that is true. So that
welcome
is awesome
back. Welcome back, Walter.
Yes, indeed. So we're going to get to that in a minute. In the meantime, we got a little bit of news. First, before we go with the news, how are you feeling? How are you feeling?
Good.
Yeah.
Nice.
My mental health has been better. I live in the United States, so everything is terrible. But
you are probably not trumped off by the new president.
I hope that there's a new.
To say Biden.
I hope that there's a new. We don't want to be. We try our best. We really don't want to be political on this podcast.
It didn't work out last time.
I know, but we try not to be political. If anyone follows my Twitter account, they know exactly where I stand on most of this stuff because I retweet a lot of stuff. But Jesus Christ, it's October when this is coming out, so November 3rd is Election Day. Please vote and yeah, this is horrible.
Well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have been having the same sort of mental health crises that we've been going through here.
Well, I mean, now the people have it in their hands, to change things again. Yes. I'm German. Fortunately, for me, the decision has to be made next year. But our choices are, I think, a lot better than yours.
I think anything. I think a stick laying in the mud would be better than
Brazil. Their president isn't very good either.
That is true. But yeah, so I hate to. Sorry to bring politics into it, but everybody, if you're in the U.S. and you're listening to this, vote. You can do it. We're doing it by mail. I mean, the request a thing. There's websites. I will put a link to a site where you can find out information about your state voting stuff, so you can go and do it. There's still time. It's not.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Anyway, news. We're a retro computing podcast. That's what we do.
Like reoccurring elections.
Yes.
Anyway, news.
Yeah. Yes.
First
news.
A 128 game.
Yeah, there's a new game for the C128 called Volley for Two. It's based kind of on an old DOS game called Arcade Volleyball. It looks really good. It actually supports dual screens, so the 40 column shows gameplay whilst the 80 column shows the score. It looks, and it's NTSC and PAL. I mean, I've seen videos of it, and you're probably looking at a video of it right now, because I probably put it there. But yeah, I mean, it's available as a download right now. It's out. So.
And it has been shown last weekend in the Vintage Computer Festival.
Yes, which
Berlin.
Just passed. Yeah. Was that an in-person thing? Do people actually go to that?
I have no idea. I am. Berlin is very far from me.
Okay. And if you have an REU RAM expansion connected, then it will record gameplay and allow you to rewind and play back in slow motion. So this is
play back and see how miserably I failed.
Exactly.
I'm not sure I want that.
In slow motion.
I mean, aren't you that guy when you played like Micropost Soccer or whatever soccer game, and for your friends like let me see that again how I made the goal, and you were like instantly hitting space so the replay wouldn't show. Aren't you that kind of person too?
I don't know. I probably if it's someone else scoring the goal, if it's me doing it, I totally want to see it again.
No, when I was doing the when he was doing the goal, I was instantly hitting the power button. Like, hey, I wanted to see that. Like, no, I don't.
I want to go home.
There's a door.
Yeah. I got another piece of news here. It's just a quick one about the Mega 65. And
Mega 65.
Yeah, which I still want people at Mega 65 or at the Mega. We're the press review version. Right. I got room right here on my desk. Just send PO box 461.
$800 product. No problem.
Yeah.
Here you go.
But they're testing more than 20,000 games on it to make sure they all work properly.
Do you know if this new 128 game is included?
I do not know. Does the Mega 65? That's another question because the Mega 65 has a 64 mode and a 65 mode, but I don't think it has a 128 mode.
Isn't 65 plus 64 128? No? Hardly. Yeah, I don't think that the C65 had a 128. It had a native 65 mode, but that was totally different from anything else. And so I don't think that a 128 game would work on the Mega 65. Now, the Mega 65 being FPGA based and able to be reprogrammed, it's quite possible that they could put a 128 mode in there. Maybe they have, and I just haven't been paying attention. But I don't think that the original C65 had a 128 mode. So now we have a 128 game. That means in the future we'll have a CPM game. Yeah. Oh God. Let's not do that. No. No, not if we can help it. Loading speed slower than tape. Yeah. And the final thing that I got here, is that Retro Games Limited, who we know from the C64 Mini. And the 64. Yeah, the 64, yes. They teased something that said coming 2021, and it's just a silhouette of a thing, and that thing looks very suspiciously like an Amiga 500. I would love a miniature version of this SX64. I don't know how that would work. With a very, very tiny CRT screen. Oh, good God. Wouldn't that be wonderful? But battery powered? Oh, yeah, totally. But for 10 minutes at a time? Yeah, right. But so it looks like enough to crash in a game of Test Drive. Yeah. So it looks like Retro Games Limited may be making an Amiga 500 Mini. Just gosh. An Amiga Mini. I mean, or maybe even a full size one. God only knows. Who knows? Oh God. Who knows? And the Amiga S version, I'm not so sure about that. Well, maybe they'll come up with a solution that maybe they'll come up with a solution that no one's thought of. Maybe they'll create peace in the Middle East of the Amiga OS wars. Maybe you're wrong, and it's a C65 Mini. Maybe it looks like the picture's probably on the screen right now, so people can see it. It looks a lot like what an Amiga 500. It looks like that silhouette. So that's what I'm betting on. That's what everyone else seems to think too. Well, probably you don't need Amiga OS because the games are just preloaded on there. Yeah, probably. And it's interesting too because there's already so many sort of Amiga
things. Like there's the mini mig and the mist, yeah, all that stuff that already kind of does Amiga. So to come out with something
interesting
else,
because in German it means shit.
Well,
and it was like, why would somebody name a product like that? Because in English, mist means fog.
yes, but so if mist means shit in German, does Mister mean shitter in German?
No.
This just got us kicked off iTunes, by the way.
But the guy who invented that piece of hardware is German.
Okay, so he should know that.
He should have known better. Yeah.
Well, that's all I got. What you got? You got anything happening?
Well, the 128 game came actually from me. So
yes, that's true.
It was sent to us by the coder.
Yes, who we should have on. We should, reach out to him and get him on here. Yeah. Well, that's
our problem right now is that we don't know when to put out all the episodes.
It's such a let's not even get into that right now because this intro will be 6 hours long of us trying to debate when to release each thing, making timetables and
4 years ago, then we had the opposite problem. Like, who can we talk to next month? I have no idea. Did you email them? Yes. Did they answer? No. So what do we do? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We were begging for people to come on.
Well, I don't know if it was ever that bad, but
no, it wasn't. It was a joke.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so that's the news I've got. That's the news he's got. So
let's go to
Casey. Yeah, we have Casey Ross and Walter Day hanging out over there, and
at daytime.
In the daytime, yeah. Well, it's the daytime here. You can't tell what time it is over by you. It could be daytime for all they know. They have no idea. It's bright. I can see things.
He's Walter at day and at night.
Yes. So that's there. Let's go. Hoo-ha.
Hoo-ha. We are here today with another podcast episode with Walter Day and Casey Ross. Welcome to the shows, guys.
Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Great. I'm very happy, especially to see Walter again after 6 years of our last Skype video call. So thanks for turning in, Walter.
I'm honored to be on the show.
Today, we will be talking about the musical/theater that Casey is actually doing about the life of Billy Mitchell. Right.
The one, well, I can't say the one and only because his son is also Billy Mitchell. So the iconic Billy Mitchell. Yeah, it actually follows the cheating scandal that started about 2 years ago. So I affectionately call it Mamegate, or the maiming of Billy Mitchell. So yeah, that's sort of where we got the inspiration and spitballed from there.
So how did you get in touch with all this arcade craze?
I'm not a gamer in any way, shape, or form. I'm kind of a pop culture enthusiast, so I knew of Bill kind of just from 90s and retro culture. He's kind of ingrained into the fabric of pop culture. And I had actually written a spoof musical on the X-Men. And I had my leading actor who was going to play Wolverine have to cancel on me. Badger in my show is the joke. His claws are in his feet. But we were watching some YouTube videos, and Bill kind of popped back up in our periphery with the start of Mamegate. And I just thought that would be kind of an interesting tale to tell, like, where are they now after King of Kong? And it was then that I kind of made it my mission to get his okay on it. I didn't want to hurt any feelings with this. I believe that comedy is a powerful weapon, but you should be positive with that. So I wanted to make sure that no swings were taken that actually hurt people. And I wanted to make sure that everyone was reached out to that's involved in the show and character in the show. And Bill was not easy to find. he's not on Facebook at the time. He wasn't on Twitter at the time. I didn't have his number or his email. Like, I didn't know the guy. So I kind of had to go on a stalking mission, and I found Richie Knuckles on Facebook. And so I just started blowing up his Facebook Messenger with phone calls, and finally he picked up. And luckily for me, he picked up during the Kong off, and Bill was playing right next to him. So I got well, he's right here. You want to talk to him? And the rest was history.
Wow.
So
you didn't go over Walter like I did 6 years ago.
I didn't. Yeah, I was actually a little bit more intimidated to get in touch with Walter, because I was like, Walter's the father of esports here. I got to hit Billy first, get the mean guy out of the way, and work my way out. Yeah, he'd kill me for telling him that he was nice to me. So he was terrible to talk to.
Yes.
I don't know how you see it, Walter. Do you think yourself that you are so famous that she was right in going another direction?
Well, I actually don't have a personality that thinks he's famous. I don't walk around thinking that at all. I have no inkling. If people people that I don't know come up and say hi to me because they know who I am, I'm just glad to meet them. I have no inkling of me being any kind of different status or any kind of different person. Everybody's people, and I'm people too. And so the fame thing is completely a hallucination, completely a delusion, completely an illusion. Some people, like one time, I was on a big national, or maybe it was even international TV show in December 1988. It was called the Gary Collins Hour magazine. They flew me out there to California, and in Los Angeles, I appeared up on the stage beside Jan and Dean, Florence Henderson of the Brady's Bunch. Is that who she's
Brady
from?
Bunch, yeah.
The Brady's Bunch. Some of the Beach Boys. The whole crew from the famous TV show called Laugh-In. We're all hanging out there together. And most of them were just natural, normal people, just happened to have fame smacked all over them, whether they liked it or not. But Florence Henderson was actually into being a celebrity, and she would hardly have anything to do with me. It's actually a mental delusion that can capture you, and it's kind of unfortunate. But essentially, I don't have that. I'm just Walter. I'm just Walter who can hardly pay my rent.
Well, I remember you told me you started all this because you wanted to play for free in your own arcade.
Oh yeah. That was one of the big motivations, that I wanted to play video games as much as possible. So essentially, I started my own arcade so that I could stay up all night to at least 2 or 3 in the morning playing video games with the kids. And that's what I did for a few years. I probably did that for about 3 years before I finally thought, what the heck am I thinking, and stopped doing it.
It wasn't so free, was it?
No. But video games were tremendous fun for me. They just went right into my heart, and it was just so much happiness and bliss playing video games, and completely intrigued by the process of unfolding my full mental potential and gaining just a higher resolute excellency in game playing, and also how this would apply to other players. And so that was really kind of like the mantra, some people use that word, of my whole existence in the gaming field, and that I was intrigued by the process of excellence, and wanted to map out that process of gaining excellence as shown in the realm of playing video games. And so it was a very long journey as I examined it from every side over the period of many, many years. And that's why, as you saw that article that I just forwarded to you, Joerg, that some of my efforts are now being reviewed and actually considered from academia. Well, that's something you've seen yet in New Jersey.
That's something big. So I wonder, Casey, what are you covering are you covering this, what Walter just explained about how he came to the video game industry and the arcade? What do you cover in your theater/musical?
So the show premiered at a theater festival called The Fringe, which you guys have that in Germany. There's a Fringe in Jersey as well. It's kind of a widespread international thing. But in our Fringe, you have to do just an hour-long show. So it started out a little bit shorter, and it really did just focus on the initial cheating scandal with a couple of flashbacks into kind of how the guys came to be at their status in gaming. But you didn't get a lot of that backstory, which is the one thing I didn't like in premiering something so dense in that short setting. So the second time that we did it, after I had sort of gotten the opportunity to befriend these guys, I can talk, I decided to extend the piece and bring everybody back out and do like a full-scale 2-hour show where you'll get to go back to, when Bill's 17 and just reaching out to Walter to start the contest. We've added a song that Walter actually hasn't gotten to see yet. I will have to send him a video on email called Greatest in the Twin Galaxies, where Walter actually plays it on guitar and informs the guys that they'll be the greats of gaming. And I get a lot more of that early backstory, which I've had a lot of fun with, and I think it supplements the show really nicely. The happy incarnation that I have now is about 90 minutes, so you get kind of the best of both worlds.
I thought that you should be having me do a song titled "What the Heck Am I Thinking?"
We'll get that in there. I do send the people my work too, so we'll have to do the Walter show.
What is the show called, actually?
I'm sorry?
What is the show called? The name?
It's called ArcadeFire: The Redemption of Billy Mitchell. People ask me all the time, do I get backlash from the band? And I don't. I reached out to them on Twitter, actually. I've combined the word. It's just kind of a pun, like arcades, fire, Billy makes hot sauce. So just a silly little title. But if I had to, I could just go by The Redemption of Billy Mitchell. People know it both ways.
Now, you have sent us photos and video snippets of the musical, and I actually had a look, and I was impressed that the guy who plays Billy Mitchell really looks like Billy Mitchell.
Which is not an easy thing to accomplish.
Yeah. So maybe we should talk about how you go with actors and planning stage of doing the musical, because I think that must be the hardest part, finding the right characters.
Yes. The first incarnation, Steve is actually, the actor you're speaking of, is our second Billy. Our first guy was Luke McConnell, who facial structure-wise, like just in the face, he kind of looked like Bill, but he does not have the sweeping hair. He did not have the beard. He was tall and he sang very well, and he was completely aware of who Billy was. So that's kind of what married me to that actor who read for me, is just the knowledge of who he was playing and having some context of doing a decent impression. Steve, on the other hand, I saw him in a comedy at the Fringe Festival the year we did ArcadeFire, and he had the hair, he had the beard, he's pretty tall, and I was like, man, if I could ever reach out to this fella, that's my next Billy. And sure enough, he became available right when I needed a new Billy Mitchell, and had no clue who he was playing, but just jumped in with both feet and has now since met Billy, so his impression's getting pretty good.
I actually saw a quote on Facebook from Billy where he says, "He really looks like me," and that's great. So he really likes the actor himself.
Yeah, he had a joke for our first actor. Is he met the guy that was playing Walter, who I just kind of shot in the middle of the two ages you'll play, because you play like Walter at the start of Twin Galaxies and then Walter now. So Ryan's in his 30s, very nice full head of hair. So Billy meets Ryan, goes, "You have too much hair to be Walter Day." Then he meets Luke, who's, he's got most of his hair, but he's getting a little bit of the widow's peak, the male pattern. And he's like, "And you don't have enough hair." And that's like his favorite joke about our first actor. And I told him, I was like, "You're going to be stumped when you meet Steve, because he's got the hair." But now his thing with Steve is the height. He's not as tall as Bill. Wow. So he says that Steve looks like him when he was about 14, because he was shorter then.
But his wife disagreed, right?
Yeah, his wife said, "You weren't shorter. You're just saying that to make a joke."
Interesting. And I also was impressed about the Steve Wiebe. You really got the gray hair a lot, looking like him.
Yeah, that's actually a wig. So I bought an old lady's wig and cut it into a nice kind of groomed male style, and we'll just slap that on when Steve is present day Steve, because we also flash back a little bit with him. So the actor has natural blonde hair. He's quite young, and then we just give him the gray hair. Little W on his cap, and people usually get that he's Steve Weeby before he says it.
Yeah, it's interesting because when King of Kong was released, Steve Weeby didn't have gray hair. It just got great in the last few years.
Well, there's a lot of stress in the competitive gaming.
Yeah, it's been a colorful couple of years in gaming.
Yeah, it has.
So tell us a bit more about what to expect on stage. You said that the first show was an hour, and then
you mentioned that the first show addresses or the first version addressed the whole controversy from the last couple of years with the whole MAME gate and all that stuff. How exactly does it address that? Like, because we've been back and forth with it, and we're not even sure like what to make of it all.
It's very dense. I told him this as well, but the first show that I wrote was not so nice.
Okay.
It was not very pleasant to him, and that's why I kind of reached out, because I heard like, oh well, he's gonna sue you, and here he comes, and the man that I met was not what I was told about, and that's when I kind of backtracked, and I was like, I need to do my homework here, and I need to make up my own mind, and I need to make sure that I'm doing justice to the person I'm trying to tell a biographical piece about. So I am of the opinion of the minority. I have found some stuff that would lead me to believe that this is not a cheating scandal at all. It was a downgrade of the tape's quality throughout the years. And we're analyzing old footage, and it doesn't look great, but he did not cheat at Donkey Kong.
Right.
It's based on the incredible true story, but it very quickly kind of devolves into almost a Scooby-Doo-esque mystery where we're locking people inside of Donkey Kongs, and things become very fantastical, so that it's separated from all reality for everybody involved, and nobody has to take it too seriously. My goal was to not make anybody the bad guy here. Like, I mean, I guess if you have to split hairs, Weeby is the bad guy in the play, but I think he's still very sympathetic, and you like him, and he's funny, and I didn't want to hurt any feelings.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's necessary, so I feel like I know what happened, but I only give you your little clues. If you've done your homework, you might pick up some clues in there, but for the most part, it is parody.
Right.
Just to go back to what you said at the beginning of answering the question, you said that you had no idea what was right or what was wrong. You didn't have so much background knowledge. And I felt while interviewing Richie Knuckles and Walter Day, I know that Walter and Richie, they both told me they were very surprised how much background I had before I did interview both of them. And I remember that, Walter, you told me like, wow, you know so much, you have to talk to Billy, It gave me the feeling that sometimes you guys were asked to do interviews or talk about the arcade thing without so much knowledge by the person who interviews you. So I didn't know back at the day that I was so special. I thought that it's quite normal to first make your background check and then talk to the person, so you have some knowledge. But maybe I recall it wrong. I don't know, Walter. But I think you were kind of surprised that I approached you with some knowledge I had.
Basically, that you knew something.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, as the years have gone on, I become more and more impressed how good of a person Billy is. Billy Mitchell's a very, very good person. And this is what people are finding out on a first-hand basis when they meet him in person. Mm-hmm. However, if you meet his image on Reddit or other places like that, you think he's the worst thing that ever happened. He could become a documentary that studies just that phenomena of how the internet has created an illusionary world that right now is basically hijacked by the forces of negativity. Okay, tremendous amount of negativity, so that even when a positive thing goes out, quite often in different corners of the internet, it doesn't get the promotion and the publicity and the exposure and the embracing support and expansiveness that unfortunately negative items will get. Mm-hmm. So Billy actually is a cosmic example that should be turned into a documentary of how a person and his online persona do not match up. He essentially is an extremely good person. In fact, he's growing more as he grows more and more mature, as he grows older and older. He's becoming a better and better and gooder person. And I marvel at how good and cosmically embracing and supportive and kind he is to other people. However, the online thing that goes across all these people is the most. It's just terrible. Yeah. And he's just one of probably hundreds of thousands of people who are being hurt by the internet, because a lot of people out there, especially young people, are very wounded. They're wounded in that their brains aren't working right, their emotions aren't working right, their physiology has tanked. So therefore they have terrible amount of anger, frustration, fear, a sense of not being loved or embraced or supported or being acknowledged or being accepted, a tremendous rejection. And what they do is, for some phenomenal reason, is that they're able, like birds of a feather, flock together because someone will raise the beacon of negativity someplace on the internet. And all the moss of negativity will flood to that huge beacon of light, or darkness rather, might be a better way of putting it. And they get there. And when 20,000 people who have all the same psychological, emotional issues of negativity all get together and start and they pass the ball around, like, here's the Billy Mitchell ball, so we'll all hate on them. They'll do it to lots of people. So there's this incredible phenomenology going on of negativity getting together and it's like feedback. It's like, when apps or speakers or microphones are too close, a huge feedback. It's a feedback of negativity where they become so diluted by their excessive negativity that none of them have the ability, even for a moment, to do any kind of rational, clear-headed thinking and really get to the bottom of something and say, this guy's good, we shouldn't be doing this. They just all sweep each other away. It's like a huge. Like in Australia, if it starts raining heavily, there can be a flood. There can be a flash flood. They are a flash flood of negativity. And so that's all I need to say about that. And unfortunately, right now, that's a very dominating facet of the internet. So therefore, you have to be really questioning some alleged facts or alleged violation that Billy alleged did, because most likely, in fact, it's almost all not true. That's why I stay behind Billy, and I'm going to be testifying in support of him, because I was there and I saw that he didn't use MAME, and I saw that he knew how to play the game. So it would have been harder. It would have been harder, 1,000 times harder, to make a false ROM chip or something, or to use MAME or something like that. Why would he go through all that when he knows how to play the game, and it's easier and simpler and more straightforward to just play the game with your skill set? So, but that kind of
has more trouble getting on Skype than Walter. I mean, this is the guy that we said had stitched together MAME tapes and MAME footages from years ago. It doesn't add up.
Oh yeah,
it really
it's
doesn't.
incredible. It's an incredible feat of unbelievable level of intelligence and detailed, creative, amazing skill. They have allegedly made screen by screen save by screen save a falsified game that would look real. It simply can't be done. The best gamer, the best programmer working with the best Donkey Kong gamer couldn't pull it off. You'd be able to see that it's some sort of Frankenstein monster.
I can attest to Billy as a general nice guy. I met him a few years back at a video game con in New Jersey, and it was shortly after Joerg had just done a video interview with him, in which, as you mentioned, it was a trial getting him onto Skype. I think I think actually Richie Knuckles had to basically do it for him and stand there, right, Joerg?
No, it was somebody else
Okay,
actually that had an arcade.
Okay,
I
either
guess
way.
it was a plumper.
Yeah.
I don't know what his name was. Was his name Casey or something?
I don't know. But either way. So I met, it was shortly after that, and I met him there, and I said, hi, I'm AJ. I work with, Scene World. We just did an interview, and I could see that he had no idea what I was talking about because he talks to 500 people a day. So it's one interview he did. He doesn't, but he was like, oh yeah, okay, and we talked, and he was friendly, and he made time for me, and took some pictures, and at the end of everything, after everyone had gone home, he was still there helping people load their machines up onto the trucks afterwards.
Yeah.
This is a guy that when you see him from afar, it's kind of this caricature of like, Billy Mitchell thumbs up standing on the machines with a ridiculous tie and all that, and it's like, yep, that's a caricature. But when you actually like meet him, he's just a nice guy.
I just looked it up. It was the Kerry Cheney's arcade.
Okay. Okay.
I guess you, Walter, know him, Kerry Cheney?
Yeah, Kerry Cheney is a wonderful person. He's in Cincinnati. Cincinnati. So I don't know. Would Kerry have been at the New Jersey event? Is that what you're saying?
No. He made the Skype conversation for Billy for me. Yeah.
That's right. All right, okay, so it's a few years. That's. I think that would have been maybe 2015 or 16 or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
15.
Yeah, that's right. We had a big event there. I had a big awards ceremony. Mm-hmm. So here's my two questions for you guys. Mm-hmm. Of course, somewhere over the rainbow, the coronavirus plague will go away.
Yeah.
And we're going to have. We have not yet had a big New Jersey trading card award ceremony. Mm-hmm. And we've never had a big Germany trading card award ceremony. So maybe we combine them and do the German New Jersey trading card award ceremony.
The German Jersey?
We'll have it in New Jersey, but we'll conduct it in German. Or we'll have it in Germany, or we'll have it in Germany and conduct it in New Jerseyan.
Well, I spoke to Rainer Grapol about it. AJ knows who Rainer is because we made an interview with him too.
Yes.
And he said, you are welcome to come to Germany. And maybe we can even help a bit on the financial side. Whatever you had in mind, we will have to discuss that.
Something on the financial side would have to happen.
Yeah.
Because I just,
Yeah.
I don't own bank accounts. So
yeah, sure.
Have to pay for it all,
Sure. So I guess from how I see it now, it will probably most likely happen next year. I don't think that the borders will open this year, and if they open this year, maybe in autumn, so maybe October or something.
Well, you're probably right. It's like in a sport when someone kicks the ball across the field, whether it's soccer or American baseball, and eventually the ball will start slowing down. But it may have to roll all the way to the fence, as in American baseball, or all the way to a. So in other words, this virus thing is going to have. It's a process that's going to have to slow itself down, to roll itself all the way to the fence. So it could take. I'm presuming that in June we're still going to be kind of freaked out over it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But from a Rainer side, you are welcome anytime, and we can make something.
Hey, even if we have to do it virtually, do it virtually. Yeah. And I'll help any way I can because I gotta, any way to get my own trading card because Joerg's been throwing his in my face for like a couple years now.
Well, let me tell you, you qualify for, you are eligible for a trading card because I gave Joerg a very long lecture on this. What you're doing, essentially, is a very strong variation on what in a history researcher's field would be considered a oral history.
Right.
Because what you're doing is it's oral history. And remember, Joerg, I gave you a long talk on that.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. I have it all on video. It's all on YouTube. People can watch it.
So essentially, oral history is extremely profound. You take a historian who goes through a lot of documentation, and eventually they merge it all together, and eventually they refine it, and eventually they come out with their finished piece, which if they're, depending on their position in academia, will become either something published in journals, or it'll be published as a book. It'll be published by a university press, maybe a university press probably. Right. But the cool thing about...
Oh, she's got one too.
Yeah.
I'm the only one here with that one.
Yeah. The cool thing about oral history, that from a military point of view, it's like the cavalry. Like, and remember that you know a little bit about the Civil War, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
The cavalry. Some of the most important elements of military functions, military strategies, is the cavalry that's on horseback, because they're very mobile. They can turn on a dime. They can do lots of things. So essentially, you can go in and with oral history, just grab some important points. The person can be on their deathbed. You can go in there and sit beside them with your tape recorder or your notepad, and you can take down some important oral history that simply was not going to be, there just was no timing. There just was any other way to do it other than get it down right then and there. So it's sort of like cavalry to me, as opposed to the big, slow, plodding army that goes through all their academic stuff. They get all this stuff researched and this stuff and annotated and footnotes and stuff like that. So oral history is so important, and quite often you can go and get incredible amount of important, vital stuff that off the cuff that will benefit future generations as they examine the history of this person or the history of this company or this game or something like that.
Actually, we had the same conversation at the end of last year with archive.org with Jason Scott, who is the head archivist of archive.org. The Internet Archive, you probably know it.
Oh, I know it well. I remember when they first started taking the pages from Twin Galaxies in March 1997.
Yeah.
So I think they were brand new. I don't think they were much older than March 1997.
No, they weren't. But did
they explain to you? Did they explain to the legal stuff they had to? At some point, they had to go through legal battles, didn't they?
Continuously.
They told us about it, and he explained the same you did just now, saying like oral history and how important it is to just have a recording what somebody says, even if it's a bad recording, because at this point in time you are the only one having this recording, so it doesn't matter how bad the recording is.
And what's his name? Is it Jason Scott? You said?
Yes.
Jason Scott. He is the head of the archive process.
I want to do a trading card on him.
I will put you together. I will put you together.
Because not only is he documenting the culture of our times, but indirectly, inferentially, he's documenting the gaming culture of our times, because he's keeping as much of it on tap as possible. So I had never even thought of him before, but he'd be a wonderful person to honor for his documentarist work.
Right.
His homepage is textfiles.com.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, because he
Boy,
all these.
I mean, the girls must really be chasing him.
I don't know, but he has a big
so romantic.
Hopeful claim.
Casey doesn't want to meet Jason Scott.
I mean, it does sound like he has lots of interesting things to talk about on tap. So.
Yeah. He's got the textfiles.org. That's the all these BBS files from the 80s and stuff that were stored on there, and he's archiving all of that stuff.
Oh my God, he's got some great stuff. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you guys know this, but I was thinking this just a couple days ago. I probably have 30 different television broadcast things that are left over from all my years. And I know that a whole bunch of things that I was in, for instance, and maybe other people were in, they don't exist anymore because TV stations commonly didn't have enough money to be able to maintain a full morgue.
Right.
Yeah.
So all my earliest TV appearances, the tapes got used again for the next night's news.
Exactly.
But I don't know if they've ever put the plea out for everybody who has in their home old videotape collection some things that they recorded. I'll bet if everybody in America was to submit all the stuff they got, like I submitted my 20 or 25 things, it could be hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not even more, of TV broadcast things that otherwise have no other existing copy.
Yep.
I don't know if he's gone down that track to try that or not yet.
They are actually archiving that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will put you together. I see you. You will be wonderful talking to each other.
Things to chat about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a bit sidetracked.
A little bit.
A little bit.
You two guys talk for a second. I have to leave the room for a minute.
Okay.
Keep talking. I'll be back.
Alrighty. So,
Working on preparing my card is what he's doing.
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably.
He was actually finding the cards for the German video game and Filmball Museum from Rainer, because Rainer said the cards never arrived. Walter found the pack of the cards. So,
Nice.
while we were waiting for you, Walter found the cards for Rainer. So anyway, let's continue with the musical.
Yes.
I think at the beginning I asked you if it's more like a theater piece or more like a musical, and you answered to me it's more a theater piece, but we are making so much songs on it, it turned out to be more like a musical.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit talky to be a traditional musical, because in a traditional Broadway musical, it's definitely more sung than spoken line. The story's so dense, and I wanted to be able to use some actual quotes and some speeches and stuff that Bill had actually said. So there's a lot more scene work in this show. I guess by theater technicality, it would be a play with music. I just call it a musical because most people consider a play where characters tend to break out in songs a musical, and they don't really question me too far on that, but definitely very, very scenically heavy for a musical.
I have to admit, in my childhood, when we went to a musical for school, I only went there because it meant no lessons. So,
Of a lot of people in the world.
So
I tell the guys that it's kind of funny. I'm working in a dying art form, and they're kind of working in a dying technology field. Eventually, there won't be any more CRTs to run these arcade games. Eventually, live theater might kind of dissipate out because streaming media and film media is just, frankly, more popular. So Billy's son liked that one. He's like, Casey says. So that's quotable in the arcade scene.
That was a good time for musicals, actually, because, we've seen things like Hamilton and whatnot have really blown up and been super popular, where, musicals...
I was a kid in the 90s, so I was a Rent baby.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Yep, so it's a nice time for that. Will there be a soundtrack released?
We're working on that, actually. So I do have a few recordings of the show that we've had professionally done that I sent over to Joerg, that has really good recording of the music. I just want to get the guys into an actual sound studio so that we can get that as clear as possible. So now that we're on a COVID quarantine right now, we obviously can't all get together because there's more than 5 of us involved in the show. But when we're able to meet again and get some good vocals done on that, we're definitely going to release a soundtrack.
Awesome.
will Walter play the guitar?
He does in the new version. I would love to do a version of ArcadeFire where Walter just played Walter. That's my dream. Get the guy to actually play himself. I keep telling Bill, too, he could memorize it, and it's mostly stuff he's already said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that is because at the beginning I said that the actor who plays Walter Day is the only one I saw so far that doesn't really look like Walter.
We had to do some costuming. Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
I was lucky. I haven't gotten Billy to play himself in the show yet. However, this last time we did the show, I had begged and pleaded for about 2 years and he finally does play Donkey Kong in the show now.
Oh, okay.
Wow, so it's no longer a fake arcade machine?
Well, the Donkey Kong voice that you hear in the show, spoilers, people who haven't seen the show yet, but at the Kong off in the play, they end up locking Brian Koo in a Donkey Kong so that he can't help Billy win the Kong off and redeem himself in the cheating scandal. And so Brian has kind of this Indian mystic vision quest where he speaks to Donkey Kong inside this arcade machine. And I always thought it would be fantastic to have Billy Mitchell voice Donkey Kong. So he's talking about his son William knowing the ways of Kong, but he's just talking about himself. And Billy actually sat down in a sound studio with our friend Scott Liberto and recorded that for me. And we've animated Donkey Kong to be Billy's voice. And it's one of my favorite cameos I've ever done in my theatrical career. I mean, that's pretty solid casting.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
So now we know that Donkey Kong speaks English.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe he's so mythical he can speak whatever native tongue of the listener, however he needs to be heard.
Hey, I'm curious about New Jersey.
Yes.
We have a trading card awards ceremony for New Jersey. Where should it be?
That's a good question.
Would it be at Lanny's show?
I don't know. I mean, there's.
She didn't seem too excited about it last year, so maybe maybe need to find some other venue.
Yeah. I know that there's a video game con runs every year. That's always. I feel like that can use more stuff than it actually has. Because generally speaking, it usually runs from Saturday and Sunday in September, and usually the Saturday is packed, and Sunday is kind of like dwindling down at that point. Like there's not so much stuff, and I know they try to fill it with events and panels and stuff, and something like that would be, I feel like, would be great for like the second day of the festival.
That's great that you actually mentioned that, because they're trying to move the Kong off. It had been in Banning, California, partnered with Arcade Expo. But Richie is trying to bring it back to Jersey so that he can do it closer to his own personal arcade. And the travel expenses for everybody will be a lot less going into Jersey than all the way out in Banning. But he's looking for a convention that he can kind of pair up with. And, you know, our plan was to bring the Kong off, bring the musical, bring Bill and Walter, and kind of be able to supplement something that already exists, as opposed to like trying to start something from scratch, because event-wise, that's pretty tough. So
But
now,
we'll have to get to that one.
Now Richie and Paul Solomine, who runs a video game con, had something of a beef. I don't know if Paul has the beef, but Richie has the beef. So I don't know.
Richie wasn't happy.
Yeah.
Richie wasn't
That's
happy.
what you find sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really know I don't remember what the specifics of it were. I think a lot of it may have been the fact that it was like it was like the very first con that this guy had ever actually organized, and so things may not have gone as smoothly as they planned. And yeah, but other than that, I'm not exactly. Do you remember what it was, Joerg?
No, I remember that when we had Richard Knuckles for the podcast and we interviewed him, and you mentioned Paul Solomine and a video game con, he exploded.
Yeah.
And he said like that none of the agreements that all of them had with Paul were happening. Something about payment issues. But I don't remember any specifics.
Yeah.
It was basically that they had an agreement that they felt like Paul didn't care to match or fulfill.
Okay.
But I don't know any specifics.
Was Paul supposed to...
don't.
The expos and the cons can be difficult because you're getting a lot of people involved to make financial transactions. Like, I've even had hiccups in my my small 3 years in doing this, because like we'll go out to the convention and they'll quote us a certain amount of money that we'll probably be able to make, and then the convention itself just doesn't make that, and you kind of get into some difficult territory with that. So And I know Richie can be a little spicy sometimes.
Yes, he can.
Yeah. He is also a character.
Personality.
Yeah. But we try to bring people together though, so maybe we can.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah. The interesting story about this is actually that I learned about a video game con due to a live stream by Rich and Knuckles. Mm-hmm. And I follow Rich Knuckles on Twitch, and he had a Twitch live stream where Paul Solomon was actually organizing this, and he started taking the first donations live in that show, and he actually made a Kickstarter, and I sent the link of the Kickstarter to AJ, and AJ was like, "This entry ticket price is too cheap. This can't be real." And then you showed up, and you were surprised how packed it was, and second, you were surprised that the ticket price was really so low.
Yeah.
Am I remembering that right?
You're right.
Near Chicago in Bloomington, Illinois, they just recently paired with a big esports competition, and they were just a small little classic gaming convention. And they initially didn't think that they were going to be able to bring both the musical and Billy out, but we were very thankful that they did, because they were a really low ticket cost for a 3-day convention. It was like $35. And they had panels, they had like hundreds of vendors, and that was kind of what me and Bill were wondering is like, I mean, they must be doing well because, we're here and we're paid, but like, you would think people would be willing to pay more. Like, there's one in Indiana. It's like a Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop convention that's kind of been gradually bleeding out into video games and other types of gaming called Gen Con. And there are 80,000 attendees at this thing, and that ticket cost is like $240-something for a 4-day convention, which... Yeah, and so like when I heard that this other one's like $35, I was like, well,
it wasn't even so much. It was like $20 or something, right? 20, I think it was, right? I don't remember
I know
correctly.
that it has people complain about it too. Like it very quickly spiked, and as it's gotten larger and larger, like some of the merch table stuff has increased. Like it's like over $2,000 to even get like a little merch table if you wanted to present your stuff there. So we were lucky to be out at Gen Con one year through the graces of a friend who runs the arcade through Gen Con. But we certainly wouldn't have been buying in our own table at Gen Con's cost.
But I can put you in touch with Paul if you like.
Sure. I've reached out with Richie just to help him like maybe organize some stuff for Kong Off 8. I know that's kind of the big thing for him right now is it costs a lot of money to put on the things. It costs a lot of time, and we're both kind of operating in the same regard where we don't have a huge team. So I said, if you want to do Kong Off 8, I will certainly be happy to at cost bring the musical. Like I don't need an appearance fee. Just give me a place to crash and a place to store some actors, and we can come up with a really cool and fun event and kind of get everybody together. But that's been the big thing he's tossed back is that he doesn't want to try to just do it in his arcade or do it in an arcade where we're renting out the cost of it. It just makes more sense to him to pair with a gaming convention that already has a little bit of an audience so that we could be one event within this multi-day event. Which that's kind of what we did in Bloomington as well, and it worked out very well for the musical. We had some good attendance with that, and that's actually where we got our recordings done and everything. So
sure. Alrighty, so I will send a couple of emails to you and Walter this evening. No problem.
I'll use my quarantine. I've been using a lot of time to just reach out and try to set up stuff for next year because
I did so many phone calls because everybody is at home. These days, everybody is so easy to catch on the phone. Like, do you have time for an interview? Of course I have time. I have nothing to do.
Very true. Yeah. Unless you're Billy Mitchell, then you get pulled away.
But as I said before, we can make a follow-up. No problem with me.
Yeah.
No problem. Alrighty. So we got that. So in other words, you are trying to find other events where you can actually show your musical.
Yeah, we've done quite a few. We've done it 8 times over the course of 3 years. So for any show that I've written, that's a lot of production for the show. We've cycled through about 2 to 4 actors in each role. People have come and gone. And we've stayed fairly centric to the Midwest where I live because it just keeps travel costs low. We certainly tried to look into going to Banning for the Kong Off that I attended by myself, but just even though it's a small cast show, it's only 5 characters. It's still 5 characters, and then I have to bring my 2 technicians that run the show and run the effects and the lights and everything, and then have a place where it is kind of similar to a stage or similar to a light show that we can set up to do it. So it stayed kind of close to home, so we can drive there. But if we find the right fit, we're at a position now just with what we have accrued equipment wise that we could bring it fairly cheap. Fairly cheap for an event of our scale.
I wonder why I never heard about that before, but well, thanks to Facebook, now I know.
Yeah. Yeah. We've even talked to a few guys, the Australian guys that do the Australian Kong Off are super interested in having the show out, and they had Billy and Walter out last year, and Bill actually won the Australian Kong Off, so that was a big deal during the scandal. How could he be cheating and still win the Kong Off? So yeah, it's been interesting to kind of see how far we can reach, but the cost to go to Australia for 5 people was beyond astronomical.
Yeah.
So not there yet, but maybe one day.
Actually, because we mentioned it a couple of times now, maybe we should dig a bit deeper into that. I think it all started actually not with Billy, but with Todd Rogers actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And his game, I don't remember what game it was. Dragster, right.
I'm up on my video game cheating scandals at this point of my life.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually have to joke in there about Todd that after some time of developing the show, things come and go with the show, and that was the one thing actually that Billy asked me to remove. He said that he didn't want us to make fun of Todd, so I respected that. He'll take all the jokes on himself. I can call him a greasy hot sauce fart and whatever I want to call him. But
I didn't know that. Twin Galaxies has new owners, and I used to know the head of editors for the news blog. He is not the head of news anymore, but he used to be. And he asked me, hey, this Todd Rogers thing came up in the forums, and they prefer to stay separated. The forums claims and the news blog, it's a separated thing. So he asked me, he asked around on his Facebook wall, the head of editorial news, he asked if he has any friends that can source him to former employees of Activision. And it was like, I have the contact data of David Crane, who's the coder of the game. So,
wow.
So this article they made about Todd Rogers' scandal and the point of view from the coder of the game from Activision, David Crane, was actually based on contact details I gave them. So
and his point of view was that the score was impossible, correct?
No. David Crane actually said his point of view was that it probably was possible and it wasn't cheated.
Okay. Because I was going to say, a lot of times there was something where the coder of the game said, it's not possible to get that score. And as a coder, I can tell you that if just because you coded the game doesn't mean you know how to play it.
Yep.
Let me tell you a story. So, in early 1999, when I was the head of Twin Galaxies, I organized an official National Hydro Thunder Championship, where I worked closely with Midway Games. And the original scoreboard that we started off with for the Hydro Thunder tracks, a lot of those high scores were very high, and they were the actual game designers and game testers, in-house game testers. And they all thought they had maxed them out. Then when the game finally got out into the outside world, and my champions in my contest began to throw up their scores, they greatly outstripped the designers' scores and the game tester scores. And they started getting scores that the designers thought were not possible. Mm-hmm. So in the long run, all the final scores were all top players. So the top players can go and just drive a game, ride a game, run a game, play a game on a level that defies the game developers' predefined expectations. So I've seen that numerous times, but that's the most, remarkable memory I have of how gamers are on another level than game designers.
Oh yeah.
So maybe some game designers are right in that they know the max threshold of a certain game, but they can easily not be right too, because the gamers are a whole different kind of they're wired. Their brains are wired differently.
Oh yeah.
The game's gonna get
and a lot of times these gamers will think of things that the developers, that the coder actually never, like weird little ways to get around things. Maybe the coder hadn't paid attention to, the collisions in this one section. It's a little sloppy, and they'll find that one little thing that lets them squeak through and get there faster. And it's like that's, there's always stuff like that. As the coder, there's always you never covered all of it. You made the game, you put it out there, and people are always going to find something with it that you hadn't planned on or expected.
I mean, didn't the creators of Pac-Man tell Billy that he knew the game better than they did?
Yeah. Anyway, in this particular case, David Crane said that Todd Rogers' score was possible.
Okay.
But we all know Twin Galaxies forum community thought otherwise.
Yeah.
The forum can get kind of nasty over there.
Yeah.
That's actually why I ended up taking the joke out. I sort of, the joke I was making is that the jury was still out about Bill, and that it was like, he at least isn't the known oil slick of gaming Todd Rogers, and that was like the one thing where Bill was kind of like, ooh, can we not say that? Like, that's actually not known. And he told me that same thing is like, they've said that the score is not possible, but there are people that firmly say that the score is possible, and I was there, I saw Todd do it, so that joke went. I believe people's memories a lot more than I believe angry people on a forum.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not a technical expert, but I know when we did the interview with Richard Knuckles, he was pretty salty about this topic.
Yeah.
That's
salty
a
and spicy.
Pardon?
Salty and spicy.
Yeah.
Richie Knuckles.
Yeah.
German word?
Salty? No.
Salty is a German word?
No. It's not a German word.
Kind of just a modern phrase to say sore on the subject.
Yeah.
What if something's very salty? Would it become blitz salty?
I don't know. But actually, I picked that up from another American friend. So I guess it is proper English. I just reused it. Yeah.
Yep. You are correct.
Otherwise, I would say pepper white or something.
Yeah.
Pepper white.
Pepper white. That's great.
I like that better, actually.
Pepper white.
Alrighty. Oh, I see. Yeah, well, it's all a very complex topic. I'm glad that I'm just the interviewer. I'm supposed to be neutral. I don't know who's wrong or who's right. I'm just interviewing people. I'm not making the tech analytics. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Better position to be in, I think.
Yeah, I guess.
Let the technicians do the tech stuff.
Yeah, right. I'm just a user. And I know I'm pretty bad on all the games. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter if Pac-Man, Donkey Kong or something.
Yes, we've established that quite a bit.
Yeah. Alrighty. So what are the next plans for your theater piece?
I actually was talking to a convention in Ohio in May that we were going to go out and do a merch table, and then since we do have it recorded, I'm trying to develop different ways where the costs can be different. So like if it's a really large show like a Gen Con and they can bring out the full-scale live musical, then yeah, we'll bring out the cast, we'll bring out the set and the costumes. If not, maybe just bring, Walter and I out and we can bring a screener, which was actually what we were going to do with this show in Ohio. I was either going to meet Brian Koo or Bill out there and just do a visual screening of the DVD that we have of it and then a panel. But that show, unfortunately, was canceled as it was in early May. We were looking into doing Gen Con, but now, since things have been so up in the air as far as like when we can travel, and I'm not so sure if we get, a full thumbs up that Gen Con is happening, I might continue to bark up that tree and see if we can get that scheduled. But right now, I'm just kind of trying to reach out to shows that are later in the year, maybe in the fall, and see if we can find some stuff in that way to kind of restart. Because, yeah, the thing in May kind of getting pulled out from under us was a little bit of a halt. I'm doing a different show in August, so my August is a little booked. So that's why I'm maybe looking at fall being our next time we will pop up. We've been streaming a little bit on Twitch and on Facebook Lives, but just trying to learn about different ways to do streaming events instead of in-person events, which is what I'm used to, but the new normal, I guess, with the virus.
Here in Germany, some people discover the internet finally.
This is true. Yeah, it's
Are you actually considering making a commercial release on Blu-ray or whatsoever?
We would actually like to do kind of like they're doing like the NBC live musicals they still resemble a stage show, but they're definitely more cinematic. It's something you would want to buy on DVD.
Right.
Any of the money that I raise, like I do like little artist table stuff and whatnot at conventions as well. So like the money that we raise through doing the show or through me selling that stuff is going into the fund so that we can work up to actually filming that. And I want to actually film on location. So like if we're at Ricky's restaurant in the play, I want to go to Ricky's and be in Ricky's. So I've definitely talked to Bill and Richie about that. Like the Kong Off would be shot at the Kong Off. And
wow.
So yeah, we're trying to work that together. Probably over the course of the next year. I think that'll be able to get done. Again, obviously with everything happening in the world, virus-wise, a lot of our planning has been stalled, but it is giving us opportunity to kind of streamline stuff and work on stuff in a way that we will be ready to go when we can go.
The times are so special. Just recently we had an interview and we got a virtual tour through a museum here in Germany because hey, we can make a virtual tour now because the museum is empty because we have to close it anyway. So,
I mean, it's been a learning curve for me a little bit. I mean, like I'm young enough where like the internet's been in my life the whole time. I mean, obviously I stalked these guys down on the internet. But I'm not a savvy streamer. I'm not a gamer. So it is kind of relearning how to do what I do because I've grown up doing theater. Like that's kind of my niche in the world, and conventions became the outlet for this particular show. So just doing things without my team is a little bit hairy, but we're figuring it out.
You have to be your own team now.
Yeah. I miss my actors.
So I wonder actually, how long does the process take from the theater idea to the final product?
ArcadeFire was a really quick turnaround because, like I mentioned, I had that other show written that my actor friend had to pull out of. He pulled out for a very good reason. He found out that his partner was going to be having their first baby, like right around showtime. So, fair reason to not do a play.
Congrats to them.
But I cobbled together the script in about 3 months. And I got in touch with Bill very early. I didn't want to work on it and perfect it over 6 months to a year if he was going to thumbs down and not be okay with this thing being made. So I was very lucky that he got me in touch with his manager, and I was able to kind of filter some of the script through him before it came out. Because, like I said, I didn't want to get into anything that was too legal or get into anything I shouldn't be talking about. And it was fun to kind of develop that with him over about 6 months from when I got in touch with him to when the show actually premiered in August.
Wonderful.
And yeah, we've been working on different drafts and different incarnations for about 3 years now. The story hasn't changed too much from draft to draft. It's just gotten maybe a little bit more dense, or the jokes have been a little bit more streamlined. But yeah, it's just been kind of developing and morphing a bit as the story has as well.
I guess it's a bit like a classical music piece. People say that the old original Mozart music is also played different nowadays because it has modified and reincarnated over the years. I guess it's the same with the theater piece.
My background is in Shakespeare and like Renaissance era theater. So that's very true of like different folios of Shakespeare. Is like the first folio translation is sometimes a little bit wildly different from the current translations that we're using today.
I never thought I would do an interview about musicals in my life, so hey, you got me covered there.
I think Bill's son told me that it was definitely his first musical that he's ever attended. So
Really?
I've been the art education for a lot of gamers.
Here in Germany, we do this in secondary school as part of German lessons. You know?
Musicals?
Yeah. Yeah, that was part of my school education.
Okay.
And everybody was like, "Oh, no lessons, free time. Of course we will go." Yeah. It's the same like you go to church before Easter, because when you attended church during school times, you don't have to sit in the classroom. You know, except the English lessons. I love the English lessons. Which is a good thing because now I can do this conversation here.
Most speakers are not bilingual in any other direction, so
yeah. I heard that a couple of times already. Richie was actually complimenting me already. Yeah, I remember that bit. Alrighty. So was there any, I don't know, any experience in your life that that was the reason you discovered your love in theater? As you mentioned at the beginning of the interview, actually theater is a dying art. So was there a key experience that
I've always been kind of a showbiz baby. My mom ran a modeling school locally, and she had me doing like some kid modeling and commercials from a very young age. I also did some voice acting work when I was a kid. I didn't discover theater until I did the high school drama club scene, and then it just became kind of everything for me. It was my lifeblood. I did a lot of acting early on and Renaissance stuff, and that's kind of where I got my start in theater. The older I got, I found that I enjoyed writing a lot more. I took my first playwriting course in college and started writing and directing, and that's where I found my niche as an artist. It's where I'm the most comfortable. I'm not terrible at it, but I'm not somebody who really needs that fame or needs to be out on stage, kind of like Walter was saying. I like telling the stories and creating the characters, but I'm definitely a lot more comfortable in the director's chair and the creator's chair than being a stage personality anymore. But yeah, it's been in my life a very long time. Like, I've been performing since I was like 3 and doing theater professionally since I was like 14. So been kind of a lifelong thing.
Right. Awesome.
I wonder, have you been in touch with any directors of the countless movies covering the Donkey Kong story and the Pac-Man story from different point of views? Or have you not been in touch?
Oh, yeah.
Well, countless. Let's say 6 or 5 or something.
Yeah, there's quite a bit. I actually have Richie's movie over my shoulder here, King of Arcades. So yeah, Richie's one of the people I've been in touch with, obviously. I've had very limited conversation with the creators of King of Kong. I don't think it's any small secret. A lot of the guys that were involved in that, they're not particularly close with that director because they feel a little duped. That story, nowadays, people are more comfortable calling it a mockumentary than a documentary because quite a bit of it is staged and scripted, and several people don't know that. So a lot of the stuff that you'll find like on the forums and stuff about Billy is drawing information directly from this documentary where things are staged. Right. So it's not exactly how it happened because they were trying to create a film with a very clean story. Steve Wiebe wasn't the first person to beat Billy Mitchell's score. He wasn't the first challenger. There was a guy before Steve even. And, they were trying to make a clean story. Steve and Bill were aware of that, but, a lot of the guys were not aware of that. And so that director has kind of distanced himself from the gaming community because a lot of the guys were just not really happy with the results. But that being said, Seth Gordon actually announced a while ago that he wanted to do a King of Kong musical, so I was a little scared when I started mine. And Billy did tell me that the director did get in touch with him and was like, "What are you okaying, this King of Kong musical?" And he was like, "Oh, no, sir, it's a Billy Mitchell musical, not a King of Kong musical." So I was almost contacted by the director of King of Kong with a cease and desist, but I narrowly evaded it.
Okay, lucky you then. Yeah,
very lucky. Lucky that I was already befriend with King of Kong there himself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other documentaries like Dr.
Man
Kong.
vs. Snake is my favorite, I will say.
What is your favorite?
Man vs. Snake, the one about Nick and Dwayne Richards and Tim McVeigh. Video game Tim McVeigh, we should specify. That's my favorite. I thought it was just really nicely done, positive, better light on Bill too. He's more of the Obi-Wan in that one and less of the villain.
That's actually true. What Walter said earlier, that the internet draws sometimes a weird picture of somebody. I know before I interviewed John Romero, who was one of the designers of Doom.
Yes.
People were actually warning me like he is a narcissist, and he can be very hard to handle. And he was the nicest guy ever during the interview, so I had no problem, Yeah,
it's funny how that works. I like what Walter was saying about the internet and kind of the culture of the internet around Billy, because I've started affectionately referring to ArcadeFire as a cautionary tale of the internet, because a lot of the story you'll find like Billy in the play doesn't even know what MAME is. He doesn't know how to get on the internet, and so he doesn't take the allegations seriously at the beginning of the play until it all kind of blows up into this big Kong off that is the end of the play. So it is very much an anti-internet bullying piece rather than a technological breakdown of what may or may not have happened in the Donkey Kong world.
Right.
I'm not here to judge. I'm just taking people as they are,
I don't mind making my point known. I think I've done enough homework where I have some interesting points I could bring up if anybody ever wanted to delve deep into the technical aspects of this story. I never expected I would know such extensive things about how a Donkey Kong works as I do now, but stranger things have happened in theatrical research to writers.
But you have to know your stuff. That's something I learned. Yeah.
Set out to write a musical and you end up understanding the electronics of a Donkey Kong machine.
I just bought a Donkey Kong 2.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I will be able to pick it up when, lockdown is not happening. So, a couple weeks.
Okay.
You're restoring my own arcade machine. Yes, for a prop for the musical, but also just we'll have one in the house now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I bet
nice.
it doesn't have MAME inside.
Oh no, it's gonna be legit. Part of the thing that we do when we bring the musical out is we'll bring out one of the guys, and it's always good to have a machine on hand, be it a Pac-Man or a Donkey Kong for Bill, so that he can do some gaming demonstrations, and he'll be able to stream on Twitch. Actually, a great story, opening night of the musical, the day I met him in person, I picked them up from the airport, and with Fringe, they're all hour-long shows scheduled back to back to back, and our premiere wasn't until 10:30 at night. So I picked them up from the airport around 1 in the afternoon. We got some lunch, met the cast, and then we just had some time to kill, so we ended up going to an arcade that was near where the musical was showing. And all of their machines are legit original hardware machines, so he was like, man, I haven't, really gotten down on some Donkey Kong in a while with all this going on. I was like, well, we've got time. Sit down and play a game. And, he asked me a few times if I was sure. I did not know how long a game of Donkey Kong could be for him when I said I was sure. But he got to play, and then it was a really good game. And he ended up scoring 1,047,500, which was one of his contested scores that they took away from him. So he redid it, was able to go further, still had, I think, 2 men, but he just stood up and killed off the game so that he could kind of redo and restage a score opening night. And we got down right to 5 minutes before my play was supposed to open for him to get this score and be able to announce opening night that he had gotten one of his contested scores back. Loaded into the car and tried to speed there, but when we got to our car, my poor boyfriend had locked the keys in the car.
Oh.
Problem is, all of our music, equipment was in there, our mics were in there, our costumes were in there, the waivers that the actors have to sign to be able to perform in Fringe were in there. So, Brick goes through the window, we load Billy Mitchell in with 2 minutes to get there, speed to the show with him sitting on some glass, and rolled into our own musical 5 minutes late. So, that's kind of one of his favorite stories to tell.
Wow.
You're kind of bonded to a guy after all that. So.
Yeah.
Well, I can understand that.
Crazy road stories.
Yeah.
And then Walter arrived the next morning.
I'm still arriving.
I was telling them about the famous brick at Tapper's.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Because he's going to make a trading card of the brick one day. So.
Nice.
Wow.
The brick that saved ArcadeFire.
So many stories. Great.
Yeah, we've had some tales.
Yeah. So where can
I
people...
apologize for moving around so much, but this is an extreme work day for me, so I have to keep things moving as we talk.
That's okay.
Of course.
That's
Well,
all right.
I've heard about Walter's book that's behind me here. I'm sure he has a copy there, too.
Actually, I don't.
Well, Walter, while you're there, I will hold it up for them so they can see the book.
Okay.
Tell them about this book.
Superstars Volume 1. No, that's something I still got to get.
Yeah.
Right.
I got my copy direct from Brian Koo, so this is the first edition.
So it's still on sale. I will have a look where it's probably Amazon or something.
No. You can only get them through Walter Day.
Really?
All the copies are here at my house, except for some that are at Neil's house.
Really? So I will write you an email and you tell me how much you want for the book, and then I will get it. So anyway, AJ, you were interrupted. You wanted to ask.
I was just gonna say, where can people go to find out about all this, and if there's a website or.
ArcadeFire has a Facebook page
Okay.
itself. It's just ArcadeFire, all one word, and musical. I also have social media everywhere under either just my name, or you can find me with Uncanny Casey.
Okay.
We have an Instagram. I have a YouTube channel that has some clips and trailers of the show, as well as just some footage of some of Billy's panels that we've done throughout the years. And that's just my name, Casey Ross. Yeah, there's lots of places to find out. It does have a website as well. It's still got a very long URL because I've yet to buy my website. So it's wix.com/UncannyCasey/ArcadeFire Musical. A little bit easier to just go to the Facebook page and click website.
Okay.
Yeah, find us on Facebook.
We will put a link so people
Yes,
can just
links
click
are all
on
down
our
there.
site.
Sure. I'll send all that info and hyperlink your way. in the chat here.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Ah.
Wonderful. I learned so much today. Thanks a lot.
And Walter, where can everyone go to find out about you, about your book that you have out, where they can get that stuff? And
Well, the trading card website is called thewalterdaycollection.com. And people can order the book. Yeah, there it is. People can order the book directly through me. In fact, they have to order it directly through me because they did a Kickstarter. They raised the money. I had nothing to do with that, other than that they asked me to write 3 articles, I think, for it. So I think I authored the text that's on 3 or 4 pages, and all the rest of it was done by people who were fans of the trading card set and wanted to honor its tradition and honor its incredible work for, uplifting and honoring the people who are part of this culture. So, and after the Kickstarter's over, they gave me all the books to sell. So the books right now, the books are keeping me alive and paying for food on my table, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Well,
I will definitely order a copy from you. Another email I'm sending to Walter.
Yeah.
I will be the emailing guy the next days.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It is a very difficult time.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for the help.
Yeah.
And I look forward to doing a trading card here on our New Jersey connection here because it's a good thing.
Why not? And let's definitely keep the cards in for Germany once the travel ban is lifted.
Yeah.
I really want to meet you and Billy in person. That would be awesome.
Well, thank you. It's so nice to talk to you guys. I look forward to seeing you in Germany. Look forward to seeing you in New Jersey.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe the New Jersey con-off will happen very soon.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
All right. So I will let Rainer know that his cards are found for the museum, Walter, and that you are still planning on sending them. You have his postal address now, that it should all be safe. And I will be sending you an email with contact info of the archive.org and my order for the book.
I am honored. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, guys.
Hey.
I guess I need a break. It's night for me here now.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Wow.
Yeah, it's just 4 p.m. here, so crazy.
Yeah, for me. It's
5.
a quarter before 11 p.m.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I didn't have dinner yet.
Well, I'm going to sign off because I got all the stuff I got to do. But thank you very much for being
Thank you, Walter.
No problem. Thank you.
Nice hosts and good friends and great oral historians.
Well, thank you
We
very
are doing
much. Sir.
our best.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for sitting with us.
Did you sign it off?
Yeah,
I
actually,
think he's gone.
That's the thing with new Skype.
There
It
it is.
takes a while till the picture disappears.
Yeah.
Wow. So this whole interview went a lot different than originally anticipated, but hey,
Yeah.
no problem.
When you're
All
rolling
good.
with Walter and Bill, that tends to happen.
Yeah.
I've
No
learned
problem.
very quickly to roll with
No
the punches.
Well,
Right. So I'm going to now.
Hop off here as well.
Right.
all right.
So bye-bye.
All right. Thanks
Guys,
for sitting
great
with us. Good to see you.
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Should we do an outro?
So that was Casey Ross and Walter Day. Hey.
Woohoo. We're going to put links to everything that they said down there below where you can go and check it out and support them. And when the apocalypse ends and theaters and stage productions are able to recur again, go and check it out. Seriously, because it is nifty.
It is.
I just said nifty, and that's not a word I ever thought I would think I'd say. That's.
Ooh.
Can we take that out? Can we go fix that in post-production, make it something better?
Sure.
Nifty's terrible. Anyway, you know where to get us. Yeah. You know where to get us at podcast@sceneworld.org. You're probably already on the website, YouTube, blah, 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 blah. You know.
Well, let's say, YouTube/SceneWorld Magazine.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Until next time.
See ya.
That's the
Bye-bye.
podcast. Goodbye.
Well,
Beautiful.
the
Beautiful.
good thing is, we are no